Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or the guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hey y'all, and welcome to Straight Up with MS and all its crazy little circles here on MS&Me Radio, brought to you by the MS Global y'all, Global Support System. And I'm your host, forgot where I was at. I'm your host, Patty Long, and you can find me on Twitter at MSNit for Life, and I spell that MSEN IT, the number 4, LIFE. And I want to thank everybody who has followed me on Twitter, especially recently, because I feel like I do a lousy job sometimes in getting my point across, or sound like I'm fussing at people or mad at them, and I'm not. And actually, I love hashtag ChatMS. If you listen to my show with any regularity, you've heard a lot about hashtag ChatMS. Randy Patrick, he does a fantastic job, and it's a joy to get to know him the way that I have, and I still don't really know him, but I know him from Twitter, and I'm sure that as I'm traveling around the country, if I get to his area, I'll try and get to meet him in person. But yeah, there's a lot of great people on Twitter, but I've been missing hashtag ChatMS a lot lately, amongst many other things. And this last week's questions I did late. I didn't make it at 7 o'clock on Monday night, which he's changed that format some too, which is really great, because that gives more opportunities to get together and do questions. It's just Monday nights, he is there, and I'm not sure if he is there running the other ones or not, because I've never tried to go to any of the other ones. But I did do this week's late, and it was on memory. And, a lot of us have memory issues. I mean, let's face it. It happens. It's part of MS. And it can range from just a little bit to a lot of bits to nothing at all. I mean, I've got zero memory of things that I should have a memory of. But, it's okay. And we have to be okay with who we are. And know that we are who we are, and that we're a good person or not, and judge ourselves based on what qualities we know we have. I know that I don't give up on things. I know that I don't give up on people very easily, but I do give up on them eventually. I mean, there comes a point when they're causing more stress, and that stress is so harmful that it's better just to walk away. And so I repeatedly say that, and I talk about, the group and how much fun it is. And it is fun to get together like that and do these kinds of things on Twitter that are pretty quick and spontaneous. And that sort of suits my style, because I'm spontaneous anyways. And part of that is because I have no memory. So I can't remember all the time what I'm doing. So, there's certain days that are programmed into my brain, and certain events that take place, like Thursday nights are pool night. And that's 9-ball over at Mirrors. And Sundays are 8-ball over at Legends, although I think I'm going to be dropping that team and picking up a second 9-ball team. I just prefer 9-ball these days. It's much simpler for my cognitive ways or unways, that the doctors call executive functioning, that does not work right, y'all. So 9 ball, you don't have to make a whole lot of decisions. You shoot the balls in order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, sometimes I need help figuring out which one is next, anyways, but that's a different issue. And but as far as being able to make a decision, that's an executive function, and I have a really tough time of it. So if I have to shoot the balls in order, then I'm looking at the 1 ball and I'm going, okay, I could do this or I could do this, and I have 2 choices in front of me that are doable choices, and then I can decide from those 2. If you give me 3, I can't decide, and I'm just like, well, I saw this one first, so that's what I'm gonna do. And doing the first one, you see, might be the best thing, and it may not be, but who knows? Because if I see a bunch more, then I go with the first one I saw. And so there's a lot less decision makings. When you're playing 8 ball, if you're the low balls, you have 1 through 7. So you have 7 different balls to choose from. And then all the different ways to go from there, and it's like so overwhelming. So, I have learned that this past session, especially, that 8 ball just isn't as fun, and it's too much thinking, and I can't handle that much thinking. My thoughts just are random. That's who I am these days, and I say that's who I am these days. I guess I've always been really random. That's part of having the type of personality, type of mindset, whatever you want to call it, that I've always had. I've always loved goofing off. I substituted, and I was a really good substitute teacher, and loved those kids to death, and a lot of them still call me from time to time and check on me, or I'll see them out, and they'll stop and they'll say, "Aren't you? You don't recognize me, do you? And you're Miss Long, and I know you. You used to substitute for me. Do you remember me?" And by the time they're grinning, I do. And it was a lot of fun, and I kind of consider those days my past life, and because it's a part of my life that is in the past. It's done and it's over with, and it's not going to come back. For one thing, I don't have kids in school anymore, so being a nosy mom just doesn't make a lot of sense when you don't have any kids in the school, and that's the whole reason why I started working at the schools to start with, and doing all that. And I volunteered at the schools prior to that, and not to be a nosy mom, but to help out, because schools always need help. And to be a good volunteer, you have to be very dependable, and you don't want to let any of these little children down. Well, I say little children, but I had them from the little grades on up. So, but elementary school was so much fun, and junior high too. Oh, junior high was a mess of the teasing though, and I could dish it out just as well as I could take it, and so kids either chose not to do it anymore, or they played the game. And, we were all very quick at thinking, those of us who played the game, and that's what made the game fun. But anyways, back to MS. What I was going to say is, I keep hearing, what advice would you give to somebody who is newly diagnosed? And this is often the question at the end, and it's referring to whatever problems such as memory that we were discussing that night in hashtag chat MS, you know, the type of advice they're looking for. But I'm going to give you guys my best advice for everybody as far as what I have learned. Number one, the only person whose opinion of you matters is your own. Don't worry about other people's opinions. They're like a dime a dozen. And yours is the one that's important. So if you know you're an honest person and you're telling the truth, then, and somebody says you're lying or making it up or that doesn't happen or whatever crappy thing they decide to throw at you, don't pay them any attention, because it's your opinion that matters. Instead, maybe say, sorry you feel that way, and walk off. Or sorry you feel that way, and go back to doing something else. Play with your phone, anything, so that your attention is off that person. And this, I think, one simple thing really helps a lot, because it's so important for you to love yourself. And MS is a part of you. Like it or not, it is. It's not going anywhere. And you can either let it sit up there with you and drive you, or you can throw it in the trunk, as Dr. B at Ohio Health MS, Dr. Aaron Boster, or I should say Aaron Boster MD, is what he goes by on YouTube, at Ohio Health MS on Twitter. But he calls it, putting your MS in the back seat or in the trunk. And I think that's kind of a good analogy for it, because as long as you're sitting there going, I hate MS, I hate MS, I hate MS, I blah blah blah, and you're just, or you're crying over having it, or any of these other kinds of negative emotions, then those negative emotions is what your MS is feeding on. And multiple sclerosis feeds, and I mean it feeds on this kind of negativity. And it grows wildly out of control, and your life becomes completely out of control, and you feel awful. Just downright awful. So first, know who you are. Know that it doesn't matter what other people think. That's just their opinion. Their opinion is not as valid as yours of you. Your own opinion of you matters most. And doing that and loving yourself, all of you, including the MS crap, find a way to make it funny, or excuse me, but finding a way to make it funny when something happens, and then explaining afterwards what it was. Like, when I just completely send my pool stick up into the light instead of hitting the ball. Okay? It happens. Everybody gets this big startled look of surprise, and I start laughing. I laugh, and I say, what can I say? It's just MS. And they look at me, and if they've got questions, I answer them. If they don't, then I leave it at that. And frankly, now at Thursday Night Pool, they don't really question it. They've seen it. It's not a surprise to them at all. And they'll rally around me if I need it, but they'll laugh with me too. And so yeah, I do joke about my MS a lot, but that's part of me loving me, and that is crucial. That is crucial to living your best life possible. And I think that's crucial no matter if you have MS or not. And that's something that my grandfather definitely instilled in me, and my parents too. But honestly, I don't know if it's because I saw him for just summers, but he had such a major impact on the way I looked at the world and the way I looked at living. And I don't know, he talked to me, so I guess that was a part of it too. But if you love yourself, you can have fun with it. So know yourself, know you're not lying, and don't worry about what others think. And there's so many things that I have learned, and that is certainly the most important. Second most important, never ever give up on yourself. There's lots of us getting better. I don't know how many. I need to ask Dr. B if he's got some numbers, because I don't know how many have raised their hand and said, yes, I'm improving. And I don't know how many doctors are communicating these numbers. So that's something I need to find out. But there's a lot of us, and I know there are. So never ever give up on yourself. And that brings me to point number 3. I hear a lot of people say the term and use this gosh awful term, new normal. And I will never forget the first year after my diagnosis, the very first Thanksgiving, my brother and his family coming up for Thanksgiving that year, which is rare, but they did. And I had just finished my 5th dose of steroids the day before Thanksgiving for yet another vicious attack from this disease. It was very acute. You know, it involved every limb, plus a bunch of other stuff, plus a bunch of other cognitive stuff, plus. And they all did, and everything pulled another one right into the mix with it, and then I had new ones in between. So, I mean, I was going through all kinds of torment from everybody. And at that time, I hadn't learned rule number 1. And I valued other people's opinions, and I had to learn not to. So, anyways, at this Thanksgiving, he comes up to me and he says, "Have you found your new normal?" I swear that's how he said it. Well, close to it. I can't quite get my voice in his tonal range. But I hate that term. I really, really do. Because we don't have to settle for how we are. We can get better. So let's not even talk about a new normal. Let's just go on with our day-to-day life, you know, and learn how to be better. Learn how to not care about other people's opinions. Learn things you can say back that are positive, and that just leave them either with their mouth dropped, or just leave the conversation. Leave the atmosphere that is too much for you to handle. If it's too noisy, leave. If it's too much visual, leave. Learn your triggers. That's my next one. Learn your triggers. Okay? And if you learn your triggers and pay attention, then you know when something is going to happen before it happens. Let me repeat that. If you find your triggers, if you learn what those triggers are, what caused such and such symptom to act up at whatever time of day it was, then you will know how to stop it from happening, possibly. I shouldn't say there is a way, but possibly there's a way to learn how to stop it. But also, that gives you warning. it gives you warning that this next event is going to happen. So you always need to be prepared. So, like going out, I have a couple of jackets in the car with me now that it's starting to get cooler. And we just had this big, huge storm come through. You know, Florence just was all over the Carolinas, especially at the coast, obviously. The coasts are, I don't know how badly suffering at the moment. I did not look again today. But my heart goes out to the people down there. But I'm up a lot higher. And so, but if you go up the road into North Carolina, because I'm at the South Carolina, North Carolina border, if you go up the road 10, 15 minutes, you can't go any further that way. They've closed 9 again. And this isn't the first time this summer that 9 has been closed, but they've just been flooded. Those rivers through Lake Laura have been flooded. So you know they've gone through a rough time up there, and Florence has just brought more of it. So I've been lucky. We only had down branches and things, but you know, MS can be like the weather. It can be very, very unpredictable. You know, I was in the path, I wasn't in the path, I was in the path, I wasn't in the path. I was definitely in the path, expecting 45 to 50 mile an hour straight line winds with gusts. And then it fizzled. And I'm glad it fizzled as far as the wind goes. We still got, you know, a good bit of rain, but not as much as they did up north of me. So I was fortunate there too, although all their rainwater is going to flood down here. So we're waiting, but it is coming. So in any case, you know, it is unpredictable, so be prepared. So I have 2 jackets in the car with me. I have wraps so I can wrap an arm or a knee or an ankle or whatever is wanting to act up and be all crazy on the day. I have bandanas that I wear all the time when I play, because if I don't, the bending over will cause me to feel like a bobblehead. And that's due to the brain surgery, the craniometry, yeah, I can't say it, but the surgery to remove the meningioma. And it was a meningioma. It was not cancerous, but it was really large, and it was behind my eyebrow. So they, you know, slice me open, take it out in little chunks, and sew me up. And, you know, you just do it. You just do. And I know I'm all over the place today. I have been, I have been really all over the place. But you just do these things. So if you know that it's a trigger, like leaning over is going to be a trigger for this bobbleheadedness that's going to give me a massive headache, and then I can't do anything. I'm non-functioning once that happens. So I wear a bandana. I also have an extra one that I can use to shove up underneath my glasses if I need a patch on my eye that day. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. And sometimes I do, and I just don't put it on, you know. But if I don't put it on, you know, I ain't got nobody to blame but me, and that's fine. You know, I'd prefer it that way. But be prepared. And that being prepared for things to happen isn't saying it's going to. It's just, you know, I've got this goodie bag of stuff in my car that is always in my car. It's there in case I need it. And, you know, I've gotten to where I need it less and less. Now, last Sunday, I needed 2 jackets. It was raining, pouring from Florence, and the air conditioning was on, and half the teams didn't seem to show, or or I shouldn't say half the teams, but half the players didn't seem to show up. I think our team did have 5 that finally showed up, but I left early. I wasn't feeling good. It was cold in there, and it's just a very cold building in general. And so I think I'm going to leave that team. But in any case, be prepared. So I used my 2 jackets. And before on Sundays, which is, notice it's Sundays because of the atmosphere in there, I've needed the armbands and the knee bands. So, being prepared really helps a lot. And I just have this little wrap stuff, and so I don't wrap it tight. You don't want it tight. It's just there for a little bit of support to keep it straight instead of going crooked and twisting in any way, because nobody wants a twisted knee or a twisted elbow. That's not much fun. And life should be fun, y'all. So that's my next thing. Whether it is new hobbies, old hobbies, new friends, which I highly recommend, or old friends that are actually not talking about you behind your back or talking smack about you in front of you right to your face and making you feel bad. But regardless, new hobbies, old hobbies are awesome. And, for me, taking on pool again as a hobby was a really good choice. I have lots of other hobbies. I like building stuff with rocks, and I like, I know that's a really odd hobby to have, but it gives me something to do, and it lets me practice my spatial senses, because I have problems with space and time, really bad problems with space and time. And so, yes, I call myself the half-blind pool player, and that's not just my vision, y'all. I have spatial issues. So, big time spatial issues as far as, knowing exactly where an object is not an easy task for me. So, you get to know what your issues are, and then you learn ways of dealing with them. And that's not finding a new normal. It's not settling, because while I find ways to shoot pool and have fun with the right people, I also do things to help myself. I've been to PT. I went back some more for PT. And I do those exercises, and I did when I was there, and I got the most out of my physical therapy and learned how to do the exercises and learned how to apply that so that I could create new exercises and new ways, new fun things to keep me motivated. And then I play games on my phone or with a deck of cards or, with the Bop It that helps again with all of these cognitive functions that are so screwed up for me. So find that spot and don't let anybody invade your happy place. And of course, it's time for me to go. So those are my suggestions for the brand new getting started folks out there. Take advantage of those things if you can and learn from my mistakes so you don't have to do it the hard way like I did. So I guess I need to say thank you to everybody and say goodbye. I love you all. Till next time, smile big, smile often, laugh a lot, and most importantly, what? Let me hear you. Love yourself. Thanks, guys. Bye.